everyone. Excuse me. Still got that just parts of that upper chest cold still lingering. 5.5 weeks since I first felt a cough. Anyway, topic of today's video: it's all in your head. Yeah, and how many millions or millions of people have heard that sometime as they grow up, or as they go to a doctor or a psychologist. Well, okay, that's what a psychologist might lean on, saying it's all in your head. Or you might grow up with family saying, oh, it's all in your head, you're lazy. But like what I have Lyme disease. I was diagnosed in the summer of June of 2013, and I got it sometime about 30 years prior to then. I don't know, 81, 82, 83, 84. I just call it, approximately 1983 is when I had a bullseye rash on my right upper arm, and showed it to one of my brothers after coming in from mowing grass in the neighborhood. He says, oh, it's probably a tick bite, it's nothing. He's a really smart guy. And of course, early 80s in Minnesota, who knows how many people in Minnesota had even heard of Lyme disease in 1983. But anyway, I just think when someone just says, oh, it's all in your head, that's the laziest assertion, or among the laziest assertions that a person could say to another person. Just really, really lazy. They're around someone or working with someone who has problems, or mentally functional problems, or they're tired, and it says, oh, it's just in your head. That is just so lazy to say that. That was something that I believe that I was told to me back in the 1970s. I got about 2 years of therapy through the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, when I was in, I think it was 3rd and 4th grade were the years I got that in the 1970s. And I had just the previous year finished up treatments for stomach ulcers. And but cause for the stomach ulcers was multiple traumas that you would just shake your head like, oh boy, a child went through all of that. When I was about 5 years old, my parents and I went to this farm about buying some dairy cattle. It was a farm south of the town that we lived north of. We still lived in the corner of the town that we lived in. We had a dairy farm just right in the corner of the town. And I was about, 4, 5, 6, and we went there to inquiring about buying dairy cattle, and nobody answered the door. There was like a 3 or 4 or 5 stall attached garage attached to the house, and my dad had knocked on the door. Nobody answered the door. My dad heard an engine running. All of the garage doors were closed, and he walked along along the attached garage, and he pulled up one of the doors. There was a pickup running, and the father of the family, the husband, he was in that pickup and he was dead. And then my dad came. My dad came and got my mom, and then my dad was too I don't know, scared to touch the guy. My mom checked the guy for a pulse. There was no pulse. His body was still partly warm, but he was dead. And my parents were so rattled. I was still sitting in the pickup. My mom told me to hide down in the passenger side footwell of the pickup we drove there in. And I tell you, I was absolutely scared out of my mind. Just unbelievably scared. And my mom probably wondered, if it was some kind of a murder suicide, if there was some other danger out there, and she was right for doing that. Who knows what else is lurking out there in this farm property where nobody else seems to be here besides the dead guy. But so both of my parents, their hands were shaking so bad that neither one of them by themselves could dial the rotary phone. So one parent put their hand over the hand of the other parent, and they dialed the sheriff on the rotary phone. And of course the sheriff came out there. I only have spotted memory of it. I do not remember if I ever got out of the pickup that we drove there in or not. I do remember us driving out of the farmyard, and by the time we did that, the farmyard was full of cars and people. The two-lane road next to this farmyard, farm property, had cars parked on the side, along the shoulder, and more people. And I'm guessing a vast majority of those people had no business being there. But so it was, when a person commits suicide, that's an earth-shaking occurrence. It's an ending to their life, and it's an earth-shaking occurrence to their family, their friends, their neighbors, the first responders, the people like my parents and I who discovered the suicide. That's an earth-shaking occurrence. And so I went a little bit long on that part. I don't know, for years I've thought about recording a video just on that suicide. And actually I did record one about 5 years ago, recorded it in the barn, and I forgot to use a remote microphone, and the sound was really weak, but there's a little bit more to that story. But the other trauma was a cow trying to kill me, who pinned me in a stall in the barn when I was 7. And I screamed, and my brother Blaine heard me, and he came and yelled, and as soon as that cow heard my brother yell, she backed off. That cow literally was trying to kill me. What was the third? Okay, number 3. Okay, that one happened in a doctor's office. And that one would be a TMI, too much information. I don't have to share everything in my life on my small YouTube channel, but I remember I was still living in Rochester, Minnesota in the early 90s. 90s. And, that's where the Mayo Clinic started, was Rochester, Minnesota. One day I sat down and I wrote a letter to the Mayo Clinic and sent it to them. And the topic of the letter was, the therapy guy I got back in the 70s. And hearing from therapists say it's all in your head, or doctors would say it's all in your head. And I had stomach ulcers. They suspected a blood sugar issue, which I learned about 15 years ago was hypoglycemia. And then that same doctor that diagnosed that hypoglycemia and figured out I'm dairy intolerant, I'm wheat intolerant. But I said to the Mayo Clinic, why did you tell me it was all in my head? And I don't know, maybe they went and found my records and read through them or not. I don't know. I actually did get a letter back from them, from the Mayo Clinic. And they said in the reply that medical practices have changed a bit in the decades between my treatments and that time of that letter in the early 90s. But, it just, like I've said before, that's just a lazy response to say, oh, it's all in your head. Bullshit. There's, I had a neighbor that mobile home park I was living in when I wrote that letter to the Mayo Clinic. I had a neighbor. She was paranoid schizophrenic. Yeah, that's what I learned later on. She had a lot of problems. And I just, she was a very, very difficult person to live next to. And, if she's still alive, I wonder how she's doing now. I just look back and I have a different viewpoint, 30 some years later, of the situation than I had back then. And I just hope, if she's still with us, I hope she's doing okay. Hope she's doing better. But they have medicine has some theories as to what might cause paranoid schizophrenia. My doctor, that same doctor of mine that diagnosed my Lyme disease, hypoglycemia, dairy intolerance, and all that, he must have been 5, 6, 7 years ago. He says to me, Boyd, I think I have a theory that multiple sclerosis is started by a virus. And I follow a lot of natural medicine topic websites, Aaron at Health Nut News, Dr. Mercola, websites like that. And they have been publishing, websites like that have been publishing studies where they think that MS starts off as a virus. So, people that, some stomach ulcers can start off as a virus. Anyway, well, I'm getting close to the storage, and so I'm gonna have to stop recording in about another minute or so. It's nice to see the countryside. The storage is out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, I gotta try and fix the wires for the ABS light. Some some asshole cut the 2 wires going to the ABS sensor on my Ranger I'm driving in July of 2022, when I had it at a shop to get the clutch replaced. When I had it there was no bed on this truck. So it would have been easy, you know, I don't know if one of their technicians did it or some jerk walking by did it. And the owner of the shop, I told him about it, and he was really puzzled. So, but yeah, I have been driving with the brake light on, with the ABS light on. The brakes work fine. I don't have ABS. But I also don't have working turn signals either. So, okay, a little walk around the storage, drive around the storage. Okay, let's see if I can get something done before I have to go to work at the pizza place. So, anyway, keep your head up, stay positive. There's hope. All right, thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.